Hello everybody and welcome to race number 7 of the MSCA American Ethanol Truck Series. We're here at Gateway here in, I would say southern West Illinois, but here's your starting lineups. Jason Kranz and Antonino Russo will make up the front row. A good job by Jason Kranz to get another pole position for Dorellis Motorsports, and right behind him will be his teammate in the 17, and Derek Hamill with a great position for him in the 87 truck to start off this race. Third row is going to be Mitchell Henderson, still chasing down those two trucks at the top spot. However, Arnold van Hindenburg will also be to his outside, also trying to chase his first win. Jacob Poole trying to get the best of the top of the part-time drivers, and Chris Malley in the 29 is going to make up the row 4 outside. Tanya Breyer doing herself some favors with Alexander Rowe in the number 16 to her outside on row number 5. Row number 6 is going to be the 60 of Kurt Trencherman, and Zachary Fitzwater, who won at Iowa last race, going to be row number 6. Row number 7 is Justin Zeidel in the number 44 truck, and Ryan Kendall in the 23 trying to get some decent finishes for himself in row number 7. Row number 8, Kieran Pangborn, Circuit of the Americas winner, and Gatlin Downey, a decent position for him at the start of this race in row number 8. Row number 9, Steve Hickman in the 64 is going to make up the inside. Fernando Olieza in the 54 Aldi truck is going to be to his outside. Row number 10, Derek Yarworth and Colin Denton both will make up that row. A good starting position for the 19 of Colin Denton. The 36 of Eric Monaco still with his qualifying woes. Row 11 inside with Daniel Bouchard in the 37 to his outside. Jack Porkins, another race that he has just made in row 12. Nick Pericles in the 6 is going to be on the outside of that row. Eli Bright, another run for him in the Casey's car. To his outside of row 13 will be the number 22 of Bill Cox. Rick Witt, a pretty bad qualifying position for both of these drivers. Rick Witt on the inside of row 14, and on the outside is Tristan Allen in the 98. At Lagacy, a really bad qualifying effort by this driver, and Ace Garcia in row 15 to his outside. But one of the worst qualifying efforts is Kenny Washington in the 90 truck, row 16 outside. Jennifer Power, not really seen at the back too often either. Going to make up the inside of row 16, and another driver for Wade Enterprises, Russ Kamaski, outside row 17, outside of Isaac Nichols in the 13. And your final row will be the number 33 Oakwood Homes Cadillac of Zachary Fitzgerald and Alex Cage in the 696. Here are drivers that did not make the race. Igor Bretto and William Brock both not making it. Mike Montesi continuing his slew of misses, as well as Lucas Sky, Chavez, Grattan, Smith, Barraza, and Otts, all underfunded, no sponsored trucks. Pretty much is what makes up your DNQ field. Meanwhile, Jason Kranz is going to lead them down to the field. Green flag is out. We are underway. And the 25 leads them into turn 1. He got a really big jump on the 26 of Antonino Russo, and is being followed by his teammate in the 17 of Nathan Howman. So far it's Kranz and Howman, and we've seen this before, especially at one of the tracks that we saw Jason Kranz win at, which is Kansas. These two kind of came out of the starting gate in pretty much a two for group. But you can see that the 17, looking to the inside of the 25, he has a really fast truck, apparently, as he takes that inside line and then getting blocked by his teammate in the 25. Kranz obviously wanting to lead as many laps as he can in this race, but he's going to race his teammate for it. He's not going to let him get the race that easily. Another driver who's doing some decent running right now is Tanya Breyer. She had a great starting position, I believe row 5 inside, so she started in 9th position, which now she's up to, I believe, 6th or 7th right now, which honestly for this team, they've had a pretty rough season so far as both of these drivers. And we see the 17 looking to the inside of the 25. They're going side by side down into turns 1 and 2, and now down the back straightaway. Mitchell Henderson also making a move to the inside of Antonino Russo, and I believe he's going to get that position fairly easily. On the straightaways, you definitely want to be on the outside. That has a better run coming off the corner, and it can really set up your straightaway a lot better than on the inside. However, if you do have some help like the 17 has, he can get a decent run as he leads that lap. Oh, caution lights are out, and we can hear the wreck. Something happened in the exit of turn 4, apparently. We'll see this from the back of Zachary Fitzwater's view, and heavy contact, it looks to be, as the 60 truck ping-pongs back there. We'll have a view from the 23 of Ryan Kendall, who pretty much is what started this crash. And he'll get turned around by multiple trucks and then slammed into from behind by the 696 of Alex Cage. Now we'll take a view from the 90 truck, who's pretty far back from this, as he started pretty far back in the field, and heavy contact with the 80 clips him, and that'll most likely knock him out of the race for sure. As a few other drivers, the 36 was into it. I believe Jack Porkins also got a little bit of damage. I believe he was smoking on the inside, so that might have knocked Jack Porkins out of the race as well. But Nathan Howman will lead them back to the green flag, and he gets a really big jump off of his teammate. Seems like the jumps for the leaders have gone really good, and the 17 is seems to be setting the pace for this field right now, as he has gone out to a pretty far lead. Mitchell Henderson in the 88, though, looking to also be fairly fast, as he's looking to the inside of the 25 car, or 25 truck right now. And they'll go side by side down the front straightaway, but Jason Kranz definitely has a better run coming off the corner. You have a lot of momentum, and you need that momentum to carry you down the straightaway, or else you're not going to have a very good attempt at passing, and especially if you're trying to pass on the bottom, it won't work. It's kind of a tricky thing that you got to figure out at this track, is that you have to pass at the right time, and you got to have at least some form of help when you're trying to pass. 88 looking again to the inside in turns 3 and 4, but doesn't get it this time, as Jason Kranz, I believe, had a little bit of a better run into the corner. But Mitchell Henderson has been pretty solid throughout the entirety of this season so far. Currently 3rd in points, although he might have taken the points lead after that incident with Kenny Washington getting knocked out of the race. So the 88 moving in now, trying to take the 2nd place away from the 25, as they're going to go side by side down the back straightaway. Mitchell Henderson to the inside, Jason Kranz to the outside. He's got a little bit of quarter panel left, as he's going to look to make the pass. However, we're going back to his teammate in the 3 truck, who is, I believe, in 27th or so. He's far back in the field. He could be in 17th, I can't really tell. But At Legacy finished 2nd at Iowa last race, and has had a decent season so far. Not as good as his teammate, though, as he has had a few mishaps, especially at Texas World, where he got involved in that that pretty large crash coming off of turn 2. But Legacy has had a pretty decent season so far, currently, I believe, in the top 20 in points, but comparative to his teammate, he is just leagues behind right now. And he needs to get some better runs than what he's been getting. He started towards the back of the field, but is starting to make his way up through the field now, which is definitely what the owner wants to see with this team. He is definitely running well in that Rutgers Toyota. And a little bit about this team, I believe they just kind of came out of relative nowhere, but honestly, people know the name now, considering the fact that the 88 has been able to gain constant finishes. But another Toyota team that hasn't been running too well is the 13 of Isaac Nichols, and Rogers Motorsports in general. That team has kind of been lacking in the department of speed, which is kind of a surprise from just how hyped this team was at the beginning of the season. And it's really kind of a shame to see how much they've fallen. However, a team that hasn't really been that hyped, but has gotten a lot better throughout the season so far, is Tanya Brayer's team in the 38. Rick Witt's still struggling in the 68 truck, but Tanya Brayer has had a slew of decent finishes so far. And obviously, you can attribute that to just experience with this type of vehicle. She's ran vehicles that are similar to these trucks before, but she's also run 3. This is her 3rd season, I believe, in this series. So she's had a pretty decent go at these trucks, and has been able to to kind of figure out a little bit. Obviously, with the move from Farfham Motorsports, whom she didn't finish too well on in at least points, but did get a few wins last season, she's definitely showing that she does have strength in that 38 truck, and obviously she is trying to at least bring whatever experience she can get in this series to also her Copperhead Amateur Series runs, as she does have a pretty decent run there, being third right now in the part-time points. However, Nathan Hellman in the 17 still leading the race. He has led pretty much the entirety since that caution, and not much has been done besides the 88 trying to make moves on him on the inside, but just does not have the help that he needs to get down the front straightaway, down the back straightaway whenever he tries to make a move. Because for some reason these two trucks are fairly evenly matched, but whenever one of them tries to pass each other, it's just nearly impossible. And the 60 could play into a little bit here, as he does have some damages, making him a little bit slower and off the pace a little bit. And Jason Kranz obviously, or not Jason Kranz, Nathan Hellman trying to get by him now. Definitely let the 88 close in a little bit, as well as the 28 who's behind him. So lap traffic playing a little bit of havoc right now for the 17, but not too much, as it looks like he'll get by the 60 truck and will continue on. And the 88's going to get a pretty decent run to the inside. But another driver, Antonino Russo, starting in second place, had a terrible start off, but he's going to lead the field down to your first round of pit stops, and the only round of pit stops, as this is more than halfway through this race. Round about lap 60 is where we're at. Lap 59, the 17 is going to lead pretty much the rest of the field down. Only a few cars, I think, only a few trucks, I believe, stay out, which is, I think, Ace Garcia and the 60 of Kurt Trencherman both end up staying out in this second round of pit stops. And we're going to ride on with Antonino Russo, see where he comes out of this, as, remember, he did pit early, one lap earlier, so obviously he got a chance to get some speed on the rest of this group. And you can see he's passing by his teammate in the 28. He's coming right up close to the 88, but obviously not enough to get him any farther than third place right now, as the 88 and the 17 have been the two fastest trucks all day. And it's definitely showing with the fact that they've been constantly 1-2 throughout the entirety of this race. Russ Kamoski, though, has been one fast driver, as he has made his way through the field, starting in 34th position, now currently seen in 13th or 12th at the moment, fighting with the 53 of Eli Bright. So Russ Kamoski definitely going to win the Hard Charger Award for this race, as he has had a very good race running so far in that 4 truck. It's been a bit of a it's been a bit of an educational race, I feel like, for Russ Kamoski, because he's not running up at the front like he usually is, and he doesn't have his teammates in the 90 and the 60 running with him, because usually those three are fairly up at the front. He's not really used to seeing the 06, but the 06 is obviously running up there in the front of the field and has a decent truck as well. And this Wade Motorsports team definitely has to try to rebound from whatever happened in this race, because definitely some pretty big points implications going on, with Mitchell Henderson being so close to the back of Russ Kamoski in points, and Kenny Washington going out on lap 3, definitely going to do a lot for the point standings when your biggest competition is sitting right up at the front. However, one of the other drivers who is still competing, fairly decent competitor right now for the points championship, although she isn't very far up in the point standings. She's currently sitting 14th around 14th or 15th. Jennifer Power in the 81 truck has kind of surprised a few people with the finishes she's been getting. Obviously not finishing top 10 every single race, but has had a lot of decent finishes, and has taken this BCR Mercedes truck and done what a lot of people weren't expecting her to do. She came out of relative obscurity, pretty much like most of these drivers have, and has taken this truck and done a lot to it. Although right now she's currently sitting 21st and doesn't have really much of anyone else around her. She's got to make up a lot of ground on her teammate Gatlin Downey, who's currently in front of her. But Jennifer Powers had a decent run, especially being the top car at BCR Mercedes, and is definitely going to be one to watch. However, Tristan Allen was the driver whom we were supposed to watch for Rogers Motorsports, but honestly, he hasn't done much at all. He got wrecked out of the first event and just really hasn't done much since. He had a decent finish at Kansas, but nothing else. And again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier, that Rogers Motorsports has really not lived up to the hype that they were getting at the start of the season, considering the fact that Isaac Nichols didn't even make the race at Texas World. So Rogers Motorsports definitely needing to figure something out, possibly going to the 88 truck for answers. However, Nathan Howman leading the field down. 3 laps left in the race. On lap number 98 of 100, Nathan Howman has led almost every single lap. I believe one lap has been led by some other driver. I believe that might have been Mitchell Henderson. I don't know for sure. He might have gotten to the inside of Nathan Howman and was able to race back to the line, but just never was able to complete the pass, which has been a theme throughout this entire race, is the 88 trying to make a pass, but the 17 not able to allow him to do that. And obviously Henderson a bit frustrated. We even heard him on the radio just trying to figure out why the heck he couldn't even pass the 17 truck. And obviously the 17 has just got so much speed that compared to the 88, he's fairly equal, and it's hard to pass when you don't have help, especially when the only help that is right behind you is the teammate of the leader. As we're coming around turns 3 and 4, from 2 laps to go, Nathan Howman still leading the race, and nothing really the 88 can do right now because he's just not close enough to the 17, and he's really got to make an effort here in the last lap as they come down for the white flag. Henderson moving in very, very close to the 17 after that corner. So Henderson obviously diving it into the corner, trying to make something happen, and you can see him a little bit off to the side there, not giving the 17 any drafting help, but also not helping himself as well. And you can tell that the 88's looking for a pass to the inside. Henderson looking to the inside, but he's also not got any help. The 25 is going to move up to the 17, coming down to the front straightaway. Nathan Howman still has the lead, and he will take the win, as the 88s just didn't have enough for him, as Nathan Howman wins in dominating fashion, leading all but I believe 4 laps this race. So a great run by the Dorellis Motorsports number 17 truck as he is back in victory lane, and a nice job for him as he, I believe, only won one race last season, as Nathan Howman will take over the top spot in this race. Mitchell Henderson in second again. That is, I believe, 2 second places and a single third place, although I could be wrong there. Jason Kranz in third, Zachary Fitzwater fourth, and Chris Malley will round out your top 5. So a decent run for Malley Motorsports in general, 5th through 7th in the standings. Al Lagasse making his way up to 9th position, but it's Russ Kamaski running, I believe, 20 positions from where he started. So definitely a good run by the 4 truck to get up to 13th place and salvage what could have been a pretty abysmal race. Tanya Breyer ended up finishing 11th. I believe she dropped a few positions late in the race. Eli Bright, a decent finish for him in 14th. Isaac Nichols moving into a nice 15th place finish. And Alexander Rowe and Tristan Allen, Rick Witt, and Bill Cox, definitely some disappointing finishes for them as we go back to the bottom of the field. And 5 drivers were knocked out in that wreck. Justin Zeidel, Ryan Kendall, Derek Yarworth, Jack Porkins, Kenny Washington, and the 2 drivers that started at the rear of the field in general, Zachary Fitzgerald and Alex Cage, both got involved in that wreck. And then Kurt Trencherman finished a lap down after taking some damage in that accident. few drivers that also did take damage in that wreck. I believe Steve Hickman got involved in that and ended up finishing 28th, as well as Eric Monaco, who was able to continue after getting I believe a little bit of wall during that incident, finishes above his teammate in the 24, but definitely a bad finish for the Thunder Snow Racing team in the 36 and 24. Definitely something that they want to try and remedy, possibly get some sponsorship offers for the 24 and the 36, and I believe that team could definitely do something better in the rest of the season. However, points have changed dramatically. Top spot is being held by two drivers, Mitchell Henderson and Nathan Howman, but is officially given to Mitchell Henderson due to having more top 5s and top 10s, as well as being the one to pass the 4 and the 90 truck. Speaking of the 4 and the 90, the 4 goes down to 3rd place, and the 90 drops all the way to 5th. So that wreck definitely hurt Kenny Washington in the point standings, and he's got to climb his way back up at Legacy, leading this second group of points drivers. Jennifer Powers still in 14th, a decent season going on for her, and Zachary Fitzwater continuing to move himself up through the standings, currently now sitting in 16th. Other drivers who were involved, Derek Yarwood dropping heavily in the point standings, Ryan Kendall tied with Tristan Allen at 17th, and Eli Bright moving himself up into the top 20. Top 26 is Rick Witt, Justin Zeidel, Tanya Breyer, Steve Hickman, Eric Monaco, and Ace Garcia. Garcia only holding a 9-point lead over Isaac Nichols, and Eric Monaco is steadily dropping down the point standings, currently sitting in 25th. He definitely needs to get the pace picked up, or else he might drop below that red line. And obviously, he's not a big driver who might DNQ, but definitely could be a bit of a looming threat for that team. And then here's the final 40 drivers, the final 10 before we get to the last 48, which are not shown. Colin Denton doing a pretty decent job in a truck that he pretty much never had until the day of the Texas World Qualifying. Other drivers, Derek Hamill doing a decent job, Jacob Poole as well in that part-time ride for Wade Enterprises. That is going to do it here for the race here at Gateway, and I will see you guys next time at Kentucky for race number 8.